So quickly before we jump into this episode, I wanted to start off by calling out all of you moms. You do such an incredible job keeping your family together, raising your kids, taking care of everybody around you, and now it's time to prioritize yourself. We have had the pleasure of working with thousands of amazing moms who have really felt their absolute best by losing the mommy pouch, losing anywhere between 15 and 30 pounds, building strength, building confidence, and just really prioritizing themselves from having accountability and investing in themselves through the coaching program. So if you want to take part in this amazing offer, I promise you will not regret it. Just send us a message with the keyword mom strength to our Instagram, which is Colossus Fit, COLOSSUSFIT, and we can't wait to change your life.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fit, Healthy, and most of all, Happy podcast. I am your host and coach, Josh, here with
his co-host and co-coach, KG, and I'm in the hizzy.
It's Motivation Monday. We're here to get you fired up, give you some of our favorite quotes, go through a client who's crushing it so we can learn their secrets, apply it to our journey. So let's grow, let's get better together. We're going to go ahead and start with our primary question. We switched this format so we can get right into the kernel part that makes the title of this episode, but we would love your feedback. Tell us what you love, what you think could be improved, any suggestions you have for Motivation Monday, for this podcast in general. It really would mean a lot if you could take a few seconds, a few minutes, whatever it is, to DM us on Instagram, because it really helps give us guidance. It's really awesome to see what everyone enjoys and what could be improved. And once again, we're just here to make this podcast the best it can physically be. But our primary question for today is, what are some things you can do to be better at a restaurant without giving up your favorite foods? And I love this question because myself and Kyle, we like to eat out. I love going to great restaurants. I think food is such an amazing opportunity to be communal, to be social. And like when you think a lot of major moments of life, they happen around food. Even being at a wedding, food is such a big part of that event. You're celebrating that union, which is amazing. And shout out Coach Jason. He just got married to now my now sister-in-law Holly. So that was absolutely fantastic, and a big shout out to them. And it just really got me thinking, like, when you're in these situations, what can you do to navigate it? How can you still have a social life? How can you still be on track? How can you go out? I know Kyle has some killer tips, so I'm going to let him take this one first, and I'm excited to add my thoughts as well.
Yeah, and I really have to start with the most important thing, although you may have heard it before. It is the most game-changing tip. It's just simply pre-logging. So this can come from an array of things, such as looking at the menu in advance. That would probably just be the first best step. But by simply pre-logging, putting things in MyFitnessPal, thinking ahead, what am I feeling, and what can I fit in within my day, it allows you to have the proactivity for all the rest of the day. So I usually think that I'd say restaurant get-togethers are for the most part in the evening. And this can change. It can be a brunch, it can be a lunch, of course. But at the same time, by just simply planning ahead, whether it's the night before or the morning of, it allows you to make the decision, what else am I going to do with the rest of my day? So if I know that it's a wedding taking place, I have a lot of different things, and we're going to jump into it after. I do try to make sure I show up not exactly hungry, but I give myself a certain allowance so I know that I have a bunch of calories to work with for the different foods and for different, things taking place. And that's exactly what I did for this past wedding. But of course, when it comes to restaurants, when it comes to get-togethers, there's so many different things between looking at the website, between looking at the menu, and just really putting it into MyFitnessPal, so that way you can make those decisions for the rest of the day and just really be mindful in terms of what calories you're going to save, how much protein you're going to have leading up to it. It also gets you in the right mindset of, like, when you sit down with that menu, you kind of roughly know what you're going to have instead of just sitting down. And I feel like for me, even personally, like, I do really like those spur of the moment meals, and it is always a great time. But when you sit down and you're like, hey, I've already looked at this, I've already calculated this, and you can actually just go in with complete confidence, and allows you to make better decisions, versus when you sit down, it's very easy to be like, oh, I'm going to grab everything. And I've done that before, and it's just usually not the greatest feeling. And so that's why pre-logging is one of the biggest things. I have a lot of other tips, but the one thing before I let Josh jump in here is I just want to say you can have complete control in terms of asking servers for specific requirements. Now, and it's not an annoying thing, right? If you ask someone for sauce on the side, sauces are notoriously one of the biggest issues within restaurants, within fast food joints and all that stuff that can actually add on anywhere between 300 and 800 calories from a specific meal, a bowl, whatever it is that you're having. So by asking specific things such as steamed veggies, sauce on the side, could you only do a serving of this? Like even when we go to these like quicker fast food joints, it's so easy to say, hey, instead of your typical 3 scoops of massive scoops of cheese, could I only have 1? And you can actually ask for this type of stuff, which will allow you to keep the calories in control and still make some great decisions. So I just wanted to mention that as an important tip as well.
Yeah, Kyle's tips about pre-logging are huge, like especially knowing what type of place you're going to go, because if you know it's going to be a really low protein meal, have that protein earlier in the day, protein fast, like all these tips work time and time again. But even like going off that, I've just really tried to make a point, and as I've enjoyed eating healthier food, to get better options and to really weigh what I like. Kyle loves ice cream, he loves desserts, he loves sweets. Those are very valuable to him, so he has no problem ordering a dessert at a restaurant. Whereas if I could have like extra fries or an extra app or something and cut the dessert, that is something I prefer to do more. So if you're honest with yourself, instead of needing to say, I'm out for dinner, so I'm just going to go off the deep end, I'm going to overindulge in everything, ask yourself what you really care about, what you really want. I used to always avoid ordering salads at restaurants to start as an app because it was expensive. I'm like, I don't want to spend like 15, 20 bucks before my meal, spoil my meal, this and that. But now I've been loving getting salads and even getting like a lean protein on that salad, because when you have a big salad like that, it fills you up. You're getting really good food volume. And obviously you want to lean to things that aren't heavily caloric. Like you got to be careful with Caesar salad. It's not inherently just good for you because there's lettuce in it. There can be quite a lot of calories and fat in that Caesar. So not to say you can't order it. You just want to make sure you're logging it and tracking and accounting for it. But doing that with a chicken breast is a great way to feel full, get a great amount of food quality. And then when you move into that pasta, you might not need to down that massive entire plate of pasta. You'd be more comfortable having a more reasonable amount, eating till you're satisfied and not stuffing yourself out of the park and then saying, you know what, I don't want that dessert. Whereas maybe Kyle will say, hey, I'm gonna have that salad, I'm gonna have half that pasta, I'm gonna have an amazing pasta for tomorrow, and I've gone ahead and I've actually just done some protein fasting earlier in the day, so I can very comfortably go ahead and have this dessert I love, this special ice cream or whatever it may be. And that's where you can do these things guilt-free. And really what this answer comes down to is just planning and just being aware of that. And the more you can plan, the more you can be in control of your situation instead of saying, whoops. And I just love the attitude of trying to log in advance. So if you can look up the restaurant, like Kyle said, by doing that, you can actually track it all in and know exactly whether you're to plan. Whereas if you wait till you do it after and you start tracking everything in there, you can be 1, 2, or even 3,000 calories over your budget, and it can get pretty messy pretty quick.
Yeah, and there are a few people out there who will definitely say, oh, who cares? It's just one meal. And this is where it goes wrong, I would say, is that one meal turns to 2, 2 turns to 3, and it just, every meal ends up kind of being like a screw it mentality. And to me, it's just one of the most freeing feelings over the duration of learning flexible dieting, planning, pre-logging, has just been able to go out guilt-free, like Josh was just saying. And that's why even myself with a large calorie budget, I realize that I unfortunately can't, if I wanted absolutely everything, it just will not be in line with my goals. And then, the one meal will turn into the next one and just kind of compounds. And then every single time you go out and every single time you are on the go, it just turns into like a screw it mentality. Whereas here you just realize you do have to unfortunately make sacrifices if you are on this health journey. And especially if your calorie budget is lower, it will be more challenging and require even more planning and even more budgeting. But just knowing, like Josh said, what sacrifices you're willing to make. Like I am willing to skip appetizers and drinks to know that I can have a nice, amazing dessert that I was looking forward to. But it also depends on the day. And that's why planning is great, because you can, use these systems based off of what you're feeling, based off of what type of restaurant you're going to, and all that great stuff. But even it's so hard. Like if someone just constantly is like, I want 3 apps, I want a huge dessert, I want a couple buckets of bread, and then a couple drinks, like you're going to be easily hitting thousands of calories there. And it's just one meal. Yes, that won't be a big issue, but it's what happens when it compounds every time you go out for a celebration. Like, especially if you are a social person, you really do have to prioritize. And one thing I wanted to share with you, because we did spend a lot of time putting together a free fast food survival guide, there's actually a lot of great restaurant tips within this guide. So all you have to do is just simply, you know what, I'll put it down below so you can just click. It'll be the first link down below. Completely free. It's 18 pages. Fast food tips, restaurant tips, lots of principles such as holding the sauce, such as what to look for, how to order, all these great things completely free. And I know we can help you out for sure. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you.
So that is our first primary question. We really hope those tips helped. And to really break it down even a step further, one thing I want to share is you need to care. If you don't care, it's not going to work. You're going to find reasons to break your rules, to break your systems. But if you're serious about your results, and I think even just having that higher level thinking where it's like, tomorrow, what will make me feel better? And even for me, oftentimes I'll be like, I'm pretty full. I'm satiated. I don't want this dessert. I don't want to spend $20 for it. It's a fancy dessert where it's $20 in this hypothetical. But I want to pay for it. The next day I'm going to think I went over when I didn't need to. I'm going to wake up feeling more groggy, more lethargic. And you can just see that train of thought. You're like, I'll avoid this. I'll feel better. This was guilt-free. This fits my calories. I'm still moving forward. I'm still on track. And it's all about this balance. And by doing this, we go out to dinners all the time. We have the capacity to be able to navigate that and do that guilt-free and work on portioning. And like anything else, it's just a skill that will improve with time. So phenomenal first question here. I was really happy that was addressed. Now we're going to go ahead and jump into our quotes. We love sharing our quotes because I just find quotes, you can jam so much knowledge, so much thought into a tiny little quote. And I'm really pumped about Kyle. So let's start with his.
So my quote for the week is, here's how to get older without getting better. Keep relearning the same lesson. If you keep making the same mistake over and over, the mistake isn't the problem, you are. And I just thought that was so incredibly well said, especially because I feel like a lot of times it is very common to just, kind of keep going down a path where it may not be the right path, but you just keep making that mistake and maybe blaming different things. And, it's a hard reality for a lot of us to face. And I feel like I've talked about it over the years of this podcast, and just really not having a victim mentality and being able to look at yourself in the mirror if you are just kind of making mistakes and being like, hey, I'm the problem here. It's not the external things that are happening. It's not whatever else is being blamed, but why is this not being addressed, and why am I not changing this? And this can go for a whole lot of things. I always like to apply quotes to the fitness journey because I know a lot of you here are for fitness advice. So when I do look at a quote like this, I think of dieting. I think of, not seeing results. I just uploaded a YouTube video last week about a couple of reasons why you're not seeing results. And that just really got me thinking about this quote as well, is that a lot of times the mistakes that are happening are the same ones over and over and over again. And especially with dieting, it's just the yo-yo dieting cycle, right? So you try to be perfect for a week. You think you're going to do your absolute best, and then a restaurant happens. And this is what's really cool, is it also, I guess, ties into the first question here. And then you realize that you had no idea how to navigate, you didn't plan in advance, and you felt the need to be perfect with your diet and not realize you can actually follow a flexible dieting approach. So because that restaurant happened, it just compounds and compounds. And then next week, same thing happens. And the problem is just that you're not allowing yourself to learn. You're not trying to find a new solution for it. You keep trying over and over again and keep making those mistakes. So obviously, same with workouts, right? If you constantly find yourself missing the workouts, what is the solution here? It's obviously not the problem here isn't, the mistake of missing the gym or, being bad with your nutrition. It's just that you're not allowing yourself to learn from these lessons. So just a random thought there, kind of tied in with my quote, and hopefully that makes sense to you today.
Incredible thought, incredible quote. Got nothing to add there. I think that was a mic drop moment. But for my quote this week, this is actually a quote I really loved growing up, and I'm happy to share it. So it's, anything worth doing is worth overdoing. Moderation is for cowards. I've shared this on this podcast a while ago. And of course, I'm just so used to naysayers and different people like that. And it's to say, okay, well, I like to drink, so I'm going to overdo it and I'm going to be crazy, and moderation's for cowards. And you can take this quote how you want it. You can put it in whatever light you want it. But to me, the way I see it is to really lean into what is good, what is beneficial. And to me, it's if I love eating healthy and I know it's good, it's let's overdo it. Let's eat the best foods possible. Let's give my body the best fuel I can. If I'm going to the gym, I'm going to go at 110%. If I have a goal, I'm going to go all in on it. I'm really going to commit to it. And the things we know that aren't great for us, like anything worth doing, would I say sitting and mindlessly scrolling Instagram for hours is worth doing? Probably not. And to that point, you're like, maybe this isn't something I want to spend a lot of time doing. And I think this quote alone can kind of motivate you to have different reflections. And I got this quote from the movie The Lone Survivor. There's a movie about these four, I don't believe they were Navy SEALs, but nonetheless, it really is a crazy story, to be honest. Actually, they may have been. I'm not entirely sure, but nonetheless, it was crazy. It was a really good quote, and it's just something that has always stuck with me. And it kind of reminds me like, hey, go all in on your goals, go all in on your ambitions. Don't be scared to dream big, to do big. And that is my quote for today.
Yeah, it reminds me of Josh's other favorite quote, how you do anything is how you do everything. And it just, that when Josh brought that up, I remember we talked about this years and years ago. I think he had it in like his Facebook bio or something like that. Maybe it's still there. But I thought that was great because even for myself, if I'm going to do something, I want to do it to the best of my ability. And I think a lot of times we can approach, like, what's the point of doing all this stuff, going to the gym, just trying to be a great person and then only like half doing a little bit. Like if you're going to do it, just do it to the best of your ability. And I know it's hard for some people to hear because, obviously time is tough and, there's a lot going on with work and I can only focus on this. But I truly believe that that's honestly just a mindset. And like, yeah, once again, there's so many things in my life and a lot of things that you guys don't see. Obviously, you only see us posting on Instagram and, doing a little bit of work with clients and our social media. But there's a lot of things behind the scenes where it's like, hey, if we're going to do this, like if we're going to put together this guide, if we're going to, create this video, this podcast, like why not make it the absolute best we can be? And that's why we're always looking for feedback. And even just for our client experiences, we're always looking to make it the best it physically can be, because what's the point of just doing something for the sake of doing it and doing it at 50%? Like I would rather go 110%, even if it takes double, triple the time, and be able to say, hey, we've done it the absolute best. And even for YouTube videos, I have to sit down and edit. I had to sit down and edit that video. And I was like, oh, I'm going to make it a quick edit. I'll just put it up. And I'm like, I literally cannot sit here and not make this the absolute best I physically can be, because that's just not who I am and that's not what I do. And I feel like when you attack different things in your life, such as projects, your relationships, your fitness journey, with like that type of mindset, it can make you unstoppable at whatever you do. So I love that quote. The other thought I had is just simply being present. It's just a reminder. So we had an incredible experience playing volleyball. Every Tuesday we play in a league. Me, Josh, one of our awesome team members, and then our good buddy of ours. And I realized that, and I always need this reminder about being present. Anytime I would look away, which actually was happening a little bit too much, we still won majority of our games. We went 5-1. It was amazing. Great volleyball, great sets. Josh was spiking it like crazy, but I found myself just losing losing presentness, I guess is the word. And anytime that happened, it would mess me up, right? Someone serves, I didn't even realize, like it just came and it just fell right in front of me. And so I had to catch myself many times, like looking around, seeing what other people were doing, and not a bad thing. Like I was present, like I was definitely, enjoying, but you have to be present in the right stuff. And even I was listening to something the other day. Basically, it was saying like essentially multitasking. Like when this guy was trying to do two things at once, it took him double the time to write the sentence that he was supposed to write, just because they were having him do two things at once, which doesn't sound anything crazy. But when you realize that like you can only really properly focus on one thing at a time, and your attention, it makes such a big difference. So just a reminder, like try to force yourself to really be in the present moment, focus on what's in front of you, and it makes a big difference, especially because realizing like that volleyball example, like I was losing some points because I was like looking around. I wasn't actually being there the way I should have. So random thought that I had to share with you today.
Yeah, I'm notorious for this. Like the second I zone out, I mean, Kyle knows, if I pay attention to something else and serve, it's just always a bust. Or like it is really good, I think, even in life, to say like similar to what I was saying, like what are your goals, what are your ambitions, and like lock into that. Don't get distracted by just little shiny things in the distance. Like it's easy to say, okay, I'm weightlifting, I'm gaining strength, this is working, I'm hitting my goals, and then you'd be tempted, you'd be like, oh, maybe Zumba is what I'm missing in my life. But then that's my point. When something works, lean into it, embrace it, see the results of it. But now we're going to go ahead and transition into our client shout out. Who do we got?
So this week we have Michelle. She is 48, a mom of two, and she's actually a nurse at a busy hospital. So that right off the bat, just wanted to share. And by the way, she is over 30 pounds down now, 32 pounds. So you can see her photo on Instagram every Monday with her tips, her transformation, as well as if you're watching on YouTube, you can see a little bit more about her with her tips and her photo. But right off the bat, what I listed out was 48, mom of two, nurse at a busy hospital. All three reasons why she shouldn't be doing this. And I say this if you're watching, I had a little asterisk and a little quote there because that's what a lot of people think. You know, they come to us, they reach out, and a lot of people have so many self-limiting beliefs, and it's natural, right? To have that thought of, is it too late? Like, am I too busy? Like, is life too hectic for me to commit to this? And the truth is, like, we can make whatever works based off of your situation. And that's what a lot of people don't see behind the scenes when we put together a workout routine, when we tailor your nutrition. The question is, what are you like, and how can we create this to be the absolute best for you? So Michelle, being a mom of two, obviously very busy, working at a hospital, being 48, like, everything is customized to her. And essentially, she just wanted to look her absolute best for her wedding. You know, she was set on hitting 135 by July, and she did it. So over 30 pounds. And that's why I'm really happy about this promotion that we came up with today, because especially for moms, like, everything is going to be so different. The routine that you get is going to be completely different based off of your time requirements. You know, what's going to work best for you. You know, having kids, your situation and your schedule will be different. So everything is fully customized. And I really encourage you, if you're looking to get rid of some body fat, that mommy pouch, whatever it is, the stubborn belly fat, just message us Mom Strength, please. I promise you we'll take care of you. Our Instagram's Colossus Fit, COLOSSUSFIT.
Yeah, stop looking for reasons why not and look for reasons why you can. I love Kyle's point about 3 killer reasons and it's so easy to put them in a pedestal, but don't be victim to your challenges in life. And this is something we absolutely will help you break through. And like Kyle said, this is something so dear to my heart because I love getting a mother who's come in, an awesome mother, and she's taking care of her family. She's there for everyone. She's working, crushing it, doing everything under the sun. And it's so easy to put ourselves last. And actually, we coach a lot of personal trainers ourselves, a lot of other coaches, because when you're giving so much to other people, it's hard to have that for yourself. But to have someone on your side to say, we need to make time for this, we need to find solutions, and most importantly, to make it easier on you, it just goes so far. So do not miss out on this opportunity to get started. Once again, you deserve it, and it's so easy to put this off till it's too late. But having the strength even to be your best parent possible, to be around as long as possible, these are such key points. And even being at weddings, I think it's always amazing. Like, and I can't remember exactly which individual it was, but someone had said Ed Milet, he said for him, his doctor told him, listen, do you want to walk your daughter down the aisle? And he said, absolutely. And he said, well, living like this, it's not going to happen. And he said from that moment, it just flicked a switch and he locked in and it changed his whole trajectory. So make the hard decision, invest in yourself, let us get you the results you deserve. Go ahead and message us Mom Strength to make that happen. But now we're going to jump into our second question, which is, what would you consider a whole food or even a healthy food? I get so confused these days by what's considered quote unquote good out there or worth considering.
Really good question, because you often do hear, and this kind of works off of last week where we were talking about plant-based and then carnivore and then just keto and intermittent fasting, all the specific types of diets, because still to this day, I think it can be confusing. Like, you try to make the better decisions and then you always question, like, is this the better decision? Like, is this actually worth it? Is it healthy? Is it good? Is a protein shake, is it whole food? Like, what's going on here? So long story short, a whole food is something that is minimally processed and as close to its natural state as possible. So really, if you look at, let's say, a protein bar and you see a million different ingredients, that's not going to be a whole food. A fresh food or a vegetable is going to be a whole food. And some examples of that would be apples, carrots, broccoli, spinach, whole grains such as brown rice, quinoa, oats, legumes, beans, lentils, peas. I'm listing off a bunch of different things, but I know it can be confusing. Like, when you look at a label and you see a million different ingredients, that's usually the best way to tell. Even obviously lean meats are a great example. Chicken breast, turkey, steaks, fish, eggs, dairy products. Like, really, those are like the basis of like what a whole food is. And when it comes down to, because I know this is kind of like a 2-part question, a healthy food is essentially something that's just really nutrient dense. It has a lot of vitamins in it, minerals, other nutrients as well that are relatively low in unhealthy fats, sugars, and additives. And I love the example of like when you look at something such as a bag of chips versus blueberries. Very, very random example, but blueberries, if you look at everything that's taking place there between the minerals, the vitamins, the antioxidants, like you can have a list of like 10 to 20 different things that it's doing for you. And when you realize like how many good things that these healthy foods do, there's a lot of foods that are great for your eyesight. There's a lot of great foods that are great for your heart health, your overall brain, just like thinking, like these are all healthy foods. Whereas something like, let's say just use as an example, sun chips, a big bag of chips, it's really not going to do a whole lot for you. And now this is where it gets tough, is having, let's say, a 200 calorie bag of sun chips is absolutely totally fine. And knowing that there are some specific foods out there that aren't necessarily going to benefit you and add value to your life, but also maybe make it more sustainable. And that's why I really do like the flexible dieting approach, because although there may be foods, like I will never sit there and have a cookie and say, I know this is the greatest thing for me. It's healthy. It's adding so much value in terms of overall health benefits. But I will sit there and say, honestly, out of my 3,000 calories, let's say in the day, this 200 is bringing me a lot of happiness. I was looking forward to it. It's an exciting moment as I maybe share it with other people or whatever the case is. And I think it's important to know as you approach eating that there's not always going to be the greatest thing that you're having, but the main goal is to have like 80 to 90% of these different options such as eggs, dairy products, berries, lean meat sources. Like the majority of your day should be filled up with that. And then having a small percentage of it being more fun foods that you enjoy, such as a snack, whatever, is totally fine as long as it fits within your calorie intake. But yeah, overall, just like healthy foods, once again, rich in fiber, low in added sugar and sodium. They contain healthy fats, such as avocados, nuts, olive oil, and they're also free from artificial additives and preservatives. So that's my rant for that question, and hopefully that makes sense today.
Yeah, Kyle popped off there, and I absolutely agree. And I always like to answer this quite simply by saying we know it's good for us and we know it's bad. If there's a lot of debate, it probably isn't the best for you. And honestly, how does it make you feel? By going off those measures and by being honest with ourselves, it's pretty easy to make good decisions and actually choose what's right. And just know too much of anything can be a bad thing. So this is where it gets very context dependent. Fruit is not bad. You can have fruit. That's totally fine. People freak out because there's sugar in it, but sugar is seen as safe in reasonable amounts. You have too much sugar, it's bad. Therefore, you have too much fruit, it's bad. You have too much candy, it's bad. And of course, processed sources will have less nutritional density, but from a physique composition standpoint, you can still achieve your goals even with low quality foods. It will just be a lot harder to do. And that's where you're in your best opportunity by aiming to eat more whole foods. And now is that to say you should never have a processed piece of food in your life? Absolutely not. There's a time and a place, and these are all things that need to be weighed and considered in your journey, and they are very case specific. We love the general guideline of 80-20 rule, and that is 80% wholehearted good foods, 20% fun. There's nothing wrong with going out, enjoying something special, making it fit within your goals. And similar to our first question, this is where you can do this guilt-free, because going out and having a really special food that's created at a restaurant is a lot more fun, and it's a lot better than making yourself some horrible dish every night for the week and having preps of it. Whereas when you go out and it's that special event and you enjoy it, I feel like it makes it even that much more special. So this is a phenomenal question here. Now for question 3, what are some fun facts about you that people may not know?
Yeah, this was a fun one. And, obviously we talk quite a bit fitness, mindset, growth. And I just got inspired because sometimes we get, personal DMs and whatnot. And actually someone recently, and I'll start with the first one. Someone recently said, hey, I was watching your YouTube videos. It was a tricep dip video, I think. And he's like, if you don't mind me asking, your knee, Kyle, was just like, it was just covered in scars. Like I hope everything goes okay. Like what happened there? And I thought that was kind of a funny question, because this video is like 6 years old maybe. And I responded back saying, yeah, I fell off my motorcycle like years ago. So yeah, basically fun fact, Josh and myself, we had motorcycles like maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago. Maybe not 7. What was it, 5 or 6 years ago?
It's hard to say at this point.
Something like that. It was a good time. And, there was a few times where I fell off twice, actually. The first one wasn't bad. I was going probably about maybe 50 kilometers an hour, maybe, 30, 40 miles. And just pretty much I was a new rider. I grabbed the front brake, the back brake, all this stuff, and then slid off. That wasn't bad. My friend fixed my clutch and everything, and I rode back home. And then one day we were just in a parking lot practicing because my braking wasn't the best. And I did the same mistake. I just grabbed a bunch of stuff and then just flew over the handlebars, dislocated my shoulder. And then my knee was just like, it was just a mess. Like, to this day, the scars are still there, but it was really, really, really bad. And honestly, that was one of, like, I would say the toughest moments of my life, because I remember just like not being able to do anything physically because, I've never really had a really bad lower body injury. Like, I've had maybe some shoulder pain. I've had to deal with different things, but it was a really, really hard time. And I'm sure some people can relate, whether they've broken, their leg or their foot or like toes or whatever it is. But it was one of those things where I was like, okay, well, I can get myself into the gym. I did lots of upper body at the time. Even though my shoulder was dislocated, it kind of went back to normal pretty quickly. So that was a random fun fact that I just wanted to share, in a random memory. We made a video from it the first fall because Josh actually had a GoPro on, so he captured like the whole thing. So it's one of those things I don't really think about much, but when I look back, I'm like, man, I'm pretty lucky to be here. I know it's a pretty crazy accident to be able to say, hey, I fell off a motorcycle and it wasn't like a very slow, one. But yeah, that's a random fun fact that you probably didn't know.
Yeah, we always love these questions. They're always a good time to jump into. And I guess even for me, like, sports have always been a big part of my life, I guess, as you can imagine, with the transition to the gym. So one of my favorite fun facts I always use in school for those little exercises that we all hate when you sit in a group and you say a fun fact. But I learned to ride a bicycle at 3, and then I learned to ride a dirt bike at 4. So I had like a 50cc 2-stroke, which ripped pretty good. And I would rip that around a lot at a very young age. And it's funny, my parents were over recently and they said that I drove so far away at the college it scared them half to death, because it's pretty quick. It's faster than you could run. So I did that. I raced motocross a little bit, didn't get too heavy into it. But I guess a fun random fact, obviously me and Kyle met playing hockey. We're on the same team and we won that year, which is pretty freaking awesome too. So that's another fun little bonus. But skateboarding is probably the most unique thing. I had like the flippy Justin Bieber hair, and that was kind of my MO, and that's how everyone sort of knew me. I was very, very skinny. Like, it's funny, I was watching some of the old videos. I was showing them to my son, funny enough, actually. And I was super, super skinny. I was like 160 pounds. I've always been like a little bit taller, and I love skateboarding to death. Obviously, as I started lifting, I got heavier, got a little expensive. I was breaking boards, all that good stuff. And I kind of went away from that into the gym. And I think I apply that same creativity and enjoyment from that into the gym. But that was probably my funnest thing, like one of the craziest memories, because I would spend like 10 hours a day. That's just all I would do all the time. Got super into it, got sponsored, really loved it. And it's funny seeing that some other skateboarders as well got into fitness. And it's awesome seeing people coming from one discipline and really learning how to apply that in the gym. And I remember from being such a solid skateboarder, I never had like really jacked legs or anything, but I always remember I could leg press a ton. I was really, really strong in my legs. And that was like my pride and joy when I first started in the gym. Another fun fact is I started lifting at 15, I believe, 15 or 14. And I started with like in my high school for the grade 10 there was like a thing you could sign up for. And then we had a lot more of that into grade 11. I did a lot, which is pretty crazy. So looking at that now, we've now been lifting over 13 years, going on 14, because I believe Kyle started very much in around the same time. So it's pretty amazing to see we've been lifting that long. And we actually started coaching. I started coaching about 4 years into my lifting journey. That's when I really kind of got moving, and I did a lot of free work before that. And then I was like, hey, I want to help people one-on-one. I'm tired of seeing people struggle. And I took on my first client at a really low rate, and the rest is history. So we've been doing online coaching for over 10 years. So this isn't just something we started like, COVID, let's be online coaches. Like, we've done both personal training and online coaching. And I love online coaching because I know I get results. Like, if you sign up with me and you commit to just challenging yourself, it's not to say you're going to have to do anything outlandish or unrealistic. If you put in a minimal amount of effort and just take it serious, like, I will absolutely, I can say with 100% confidence, transform your entire life. And it's because it's not as complicated as it seems. obviously you see how me and Kyle talk about this, and I think it's easy to dismiss things and say, oh, okay, I like what they say, but that doesn't apply to me. My situation's different because I'm a mom, I'm a nurse, and I have no time, right? But then once again, with the example of Michelle, she came into the program and she's freaking crushing it. Like, she's getting after it. She's getting it done. So a lot of it is getting over those preconceived notions. And we were really inspired just to help people. And that's what created our podcast, our Instagram, all those different fun things, our YouTube. Like, it was really cool to say that. And I guess another bonus fun fact is I am a super, super duper like early YouTuber. If you want to watch it, you're welcome to watch it. My YouTube channel was called Mickey Border. I have 110 subscribers, and my first upload was 14 years ago. So I was on YouTube pretty early, which is bonkers because I'm 28 now. So at 14, I really was editing and uploading YouTube videos, and I thought that was fun. And it's cool how that came into YouTube. So I wasn't like super duper early. I think the really, really early people would be the 17 or 18 years ago. Those would be the true OGs. But I think that is a pretty cool fun fact that I've been there around there for a while. But yeah, if you want to go watch random old skateboarding videos, it's Mickey Border, which is pretty jokes.
Yeah, back when Josh and I started this whole thing, we started hanging out years and years ago, like 10, I guess, I don't know, maybe 12 years ago. And it's funny, looking back, we played for Agent Court Lions, just this random hockey team. And I still have that photo on my phone where it's just like we both had really long, he had skateboarding hair, I maybe a combination of skateboard and hockey hair. I had hockey hair, and yeah, it's just a funny photo because like you would just never know. Like, we had started this business, we've continued to stay consistent with it. And fun fact, kind of working off of Josh's skateboarding thing, is I've definitely over these years, like growing up, I never got the chance to do a lot of, I guess you could say, things that most people would like. My mom did a great job of doing the best she can in terms of like getting me to play hockey, and could only do so much as essentially being the only one kind of helping my twin sister and I out with everything. And so with that, there was a lot of things I never got to try. And even just like Josh one day, he's like, yeah, try skateboarding. I'm like, I tried that. I was just like, man, I remember just, it was fun, but I was like, I'm just too old. Like, this is just, I can't do it. And obviously maybe some self-limiting beliefs there, but it's hard. Like, there's so many things, but as we started hanging out more, it's really cool to get to try a bunch of different things, even though it's like being past 20 years old. Like, it's just such a good reminder that you're never too late to try things. Like, there's some things like, yeah, I had a bike growing up, but I never really got the opportunity to like use it as much as kids would, right? Just based off of, having not as many resources and whatnot. So it's really been cool these last, I'd say 5 to 10 years of just trying new things, exploring, getting out there, like things that I never would have done growing up. And that's been really fun. And I guess my last fun fact, as I had mentioned there, is just having a twin sister. Like, she is 3 hours older than me. And it's just funny because, it's very, like, a lot of people don't realize this, and I've talked about it a few times, but kind of working off of what Josh said, she came into the program, which is awesome. She reached out to me a little over 6 months ago and was like, hey, I finally need some help. And I've always let her kind of let me know, like, I'm not going to push anything, like, it is what it is. And she's been thriving. She's over 30 pounds down. Everything is customized. She loves teaching group classes. So like, what's awesome is that she was struggling because she was just doing group classes, not paying attention to nutrition, not strength training. And yeah, like, it's amazing to see her thrive. We have a lot more in common now as we talk about fitness and health, and like, she's been crushing it and setting a great example for those whose, classes she's teaching and getting all these compliments. So really, really cool thing. Obviously lots of great fun facts within that, but similar to what Josh said, like, the confidence to be able to help anybody at any given point is just like surreal. Like, it's such an amazing feeling knowing whether a family member, whether a really close friend, whether it's like any of you awesome people reach out, we're so confident to be able to help you out. And hopefully you send us that message because we guarantee your results.
So we want to thank you for tuning in today. It's your time to see change. And once again, if you want to level up, keep tuning in, reach out to us, let us help you one-on-one. We hope you have a fantastic week ahead. Peace out.